Washington is throwing sugar around while Wall Street is reveling, while the big players who are secretly washing their money on the chain are still increasing their positions. Can Bitcoin stably break through 110,000? SEC suddenly approves Solana ETF. SOL is actually giving up and being a hands-off boss? Bhutan quietly digs out $1.3 billion Bitcoin reserves surpass those of El Salvador. Tether's own chain kills TronJD.com. An Ant Group enters Hong Kong's stablecoin market. Singapore's crypto license is as expensive as climbing to the sky. Bitstamp is the first to obtain a compliant entry ticket.
On Friday, July 4th, BitcoinTV English channel, Where is the Coin Chain? I am Michael. Let's start with the 24-hour data headlines in the cryptocurrency circle. Yesterday, the United States was going to be lively. First, the big and beautiful bill pushed by Trump passed the bill with 218 votes to 214. The bill is about to go through taxation and spending. When the market heard about it, it was immediately excited and felt that the economy needed another wave of stimulus. On the same day, if the week of July 14th is announced as Crypto Week, 3 bills related to cryptocurrency will be reviewed intensively, mainly stipulating that stable currencies must be backed by US dollars or highly liquid assets and audited regularly, clarifying who is in charge of what between the SEC and the CFTC, and clarifying the cumulative uses and restrictions of the central bank's digital currency. It was also announced that Trump would raise the expected stable currency bill before August, and legislation is expected to be significantly accelerated. The macroeconomic environment released optimistic signals, and US stocks hit new highs across the board. S&P 500 rose 0.83%, Nasdaq rose 1.02%, and Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 2.3% this week. Technology stocks led the gains, and Nvidia hit a new record high, boosting risk sentiment. Bitcoin also rebounded from the low point on July 2nd. 105,000 the US dollar rose, breaking through 110,000 on July 3rd, and is expected to stabilize around 109,500 at 2 p.m. today. The expected implementation of the big and beautiful agreement, the rise of the crypto myth, and the strength of the US stock market are providing upward momentum for Bitcoin. However, whether it will continue to be sustained still needs to observe the trading volume and on-chain data performance. Today, Bitcoin surged to $109,628 and is about to reach a new high of $110,000. However, the indicator called NUPL on the chain is only 0.559, which is obviously lower than the 0.63 when Bitcoin was at $100,000 at the end of 2024. NUPL simply means how many coins are making money in the market, and the numerical valuation shows that everyone is making money. Although the price has risen now, NUPL has not soared, indicating that there are not many floating profit chips in the market, and few people want to smash the market in the short term. In the past 6 months, Bitcoin has been fluctuating sideways, and it may also be that institutions and ETFs are secretly absorbing chips and taking away the cheap chips of retail investors. In general, although the price of Bitcoin is high, the sentiment has not slowly overheated, and the market is still healthy for the time being. However, if NUPL soars above 0.65 later, you have to be careful of short-term overheating, and it may come to an emergency break at any time. Currently, the Coinbase Premium Index has been stable at 0.0401 recently and has maintained a positive premium for more than a month. This shows that the buying in the United States is quite fierce, especially large investors and institutions have continued to enter the market in this wave of high prices. Although Bitcoin has tried to rush to $110,000 several times recently, the premium index has fallen. But it shows that funds are not afraid of high levels, but are buying more and more. The Coinbase Premium actually depends on the unwillingness of American investors to buy more Bitcoin. It has been in the positive range for such a long time, which shows that everyone is still confident and it is not going to peak in the short term. In addition, the Crypto Week legislation is coming soon, and the big and beautiful agreement will also be implemented. The whole market has more and more favorable expectations for crypto assets, which has added confidence to the subsequent market of Bitcoin. Please like and follow us to sort out the latest developments in the currency, blockchain, and mining circles within 24 hours. Click the small bell to join the channel and become a member. You can get the member wealth code from Monday to Friday. On July 2nd Eastern Time, Rick Osprey put the world's first Solana pledge ETF on the CBOE BZX exchange. It had a turnover of $8 million in 20 minutes after opening, which looked quite lively. But strangely, the reason is very simple. SOL fell 7.8% a week before the news landed. This is a typical buy news, sell facts. The bulls first took the money and did not flow back to the spot. In 24 hours, SOL rose by about 3.6%, which is similar to Bitcoin. But on the other hand, Ethereum was amazing, rushing directly to $2,600, a 7.1% increase in 24 hours. What happened that made ETH stand out and SOL a little dull?
Analyst Eric Chunas pointed out that the ETF's trading volume reached $2,000 in the first half of the day, and most of the new ETF's first-day trading volume was in the top 1%. However, the issuer REX is smaller than BlackRock in other departments, and the subsequent liquidity remains to be seen. It is worth noting that the official document mentioned that although SSK tracks SOL, it does not completely replicate SOL's performance. Currently, it guarantees about 45% of the investment in 21 Solana stake ETPs, and the rest is invested in Solana spot.
You think about, and I think about this in Bink and a bunch of our portfolios, I've got to make sure you can do redeem and creates. I got to make sure your beta is consistent. So I do think you'll see more in an ETF wrapper. Listen, I think ETF wrapper in many ways is the future because of the way people build models and think about it.
The first Solana staking ETF is finally here. The US SEC did not respond coldly this time, but publicly nodded silently, allowing staking income to enter the ETF for the first time. This is different from the well-known Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETFs. SSK is the first new generation to bring Solana into the traditional investment circle. Although Solana has been a bit weak recently, the market is interpreting it. This may echo the regulatory attitude of loosening in 2025. It may be the opening gong and drum of the legendary crypto ETF summer. And now, there are 7 Solana ETFs in the queue. I am afraid that all of them will pass in the future. The concept of staking income is expected to be popular. Bhutan is a small country with a high happiness index and beautiful scenery in the minds of many people. But in the cryptocurrency circle, it is actually a hidden boss. As early as 2020, they quietly opened a Bitcoin mine and mined $1.3 billion in Bitcoin with cheap hydropower, accounting for nearly 40% of the country's GDP. They are directly among the top 3 governments in the world in terms of currency holdings and can stand shoulder to shoulder with superpowers. Moreover, Bhutan does not follow the path of the United States and the United Kingdom to seize black money or sweep the market, but relies entirely on its own mining. It is not like El Salvador's high-profile Bitcoin speculation, but is low-key and pragmatic. The goal is simple: to make economic confidence and earn more foreign exchange.
At present, Bhutan is actively incorporating cryptocurrency into its national development strategy. Specific measures include mining Bitcoin based on its abundant hydropower resources, establishing national reserves, cooperating with Binance to promote crypto payments, and promoting tourism and foreign exchange income through crypto technology. According to Bitbo data, Bhutan currently holds more than 13,000 bitcoins with a market value of approximately $140 million, ranking 5th in the world, surpassing El Salvador. Not only has it risen from the top 3 in the world to the 5th level, government-level big holders of currency, but part of the proceeds have even been used to pay civil servants' salaries.
Bhutan, a small country at the foot of the Malay Himalayas, has a population of only 780,000. It still mainly conducts cash transactions, has a tense tradition, officials wear costumes, there are no traffic lights in the capital Thimphu, Archery is a popular weekend activity, and even the first credit card swipe was after 2010. But don't underestimate the low-key launch. Since May this year, the Bhutanese government has involved Binance and DK Bank, and the national encrypted payment system has covered Thimphu, Paro, and other places. More than 1,000 merchants accept BTC, BNB, USDT, and other digital assets, from collection to street snacks. Although the network speed is still limited, Starlink is accelerating. Although Bhutan is a small country, it is ambitious. It is not like El Salvador, which loudly claims that Bitcoin is legal tender, but it is quietly integrating cryptocurrency into daily life. It is low-key and pragmatic, and it is really a representative of making a fortune in silence.
JD.com Ant Group enters Hong Kong's stablecoin market, triggering new waves in the internationalization of the RMB. Bitstamp license, the first to pass the strict regulation, a concession or recognition by MAS.
By July this year, the market value of USDT reached $115 billion, distributed on more than 14 chains, and Tron accounted for more than half of it, making it the traffic father of Tether. Tether earns billions of dollars a year, and Tron also earns tens of millions of dollars from fees and popularity, making it the invisible winner in the stablecoin circle. But the plot is coming. Tether is going to make a new alloy recently, using its own USDT to support the market, focusing on faster, cheaper, and more stable. This means that in the future, USDT may run directly on its own chain, not necessarily using Tron. If this is the case, Tron's fees and popularity may be divided. Although Tether will not say that it will completely replace its old partner, for Tron, this is a sudden final exam. At present, stablecoins have become a new battlefield for global capital competition. On August 1st, the Hong Kong Stablecoin Ordinance will be implemented. JD.com and Ant Group have both set their sights on this piece of fat meat and want to make RMB stablecoins. The pot of stablecoins is really getting more and more fragrant.
The Ministry of Finance and many media outlets have reported that China's technology giant JD.com and Alibaba have established Ant Group and are actively seeking support from the People's Bank of China and Hong Kong financial regulators, planning to issue offshore or RMB/HKD stablecoins in Hong Kong. This will not only help consolidate the role of the RMB in global trade and cross-border payments, but also seize the initiative under the framework of the Stablecoin Ordinance, which will take effect on August 1st.
那么京东呢，在香港发稳定币是为这个发展提供一个基础的支撑。从另一方面讲呢，我觉得我们内地还需要跟香港有更多的连接。光靠京东在香港发行锚定港币的稳定币是远远不够的。我们将来其实需要考虑发行锚定人民币的稳定币，这样呢才能把中国内地的巨大的金融资源跟香港开放的这种优势结合起来，才能在全球打造具有中国特色的 RWA 的重大的一个市场。
In May this year, the participation of RMB in global payments fell to 2.89%, a new low in the past 2 years. Swift data shows that the US dollar is still firmly competing for the main position in global payments, with a market share of up to 48%. Against this background, Chinese technology industries such as JD.com and Ant Group have applied for stablecoin licenses in Hong Kong. In the final analysis, they want to have more initiative in the field of cross-border payments. The stablecoin business is essentially that the issuer can absorb user funds without paying interest, and then invest the funds in assets with high liquidity and low risk. Although stablecoins are still a new thing, they have great potential in the future. Global participants are mainly internet companies, payment institutions and banks, and the United States and Hong Kong, China, are at the forefront. Today, with the rise of the stablecoin craze by JD.com, Ant and other parties, it has also attracted more and more attention. Will this become a new promoter of RMB internationalization? Recently, Singapore's regulation has been really harsh on the crypto community. At the end of May, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, MAS, issued an ultimatum, stating that crypto platforms registered locally in Singapore must obtain licenses by June 30th if they continue to serve foreign customers. Otherwise, they will be kicked out, go to jail, and have to pay huge debts. About 250,000 Singapore dollars before the deadline, the neighbors are no joke, and there is no buffer time. It is a sealing agency. MAS also specifically reminded that this license is not something that anyone can get, and the difficulty is comparable to climbing to the sky. As a result, everyone is still worried about currency, and Robinhood launched a crypto exchange. However, Bitstamp managed to break through the siege and successfully obtained a license. We have to say that they are really capable.
Bitstamp announces successful acquisition of Monetary Authority of Singapore. Monetary Authority of Singapore, as a long-established cryptocurrency exchange established in 2011, Bitstamp has maintained compliance for a long time and has obtained regulatory licenses in the European and American markets, such as the European Payment Institution License and the U.S. FinCEN Money Services License. Bitstamp has strict risk control, implements the real name system and anti-money laundering policy, does not involve high leverage or high-risk products, and meets the regulatory requirements of MAS. Bitstamp acted quickly, communicated with MAS in advance, and successfully ranked at the forefront of the Moscow queue, catching the express train of this battle.
In a bid to protect retail customers, the Monetary Authority of Singapore is tightening rules for those investing in digital payment tokens, otherwise known as DPTs, such as cryptocurrencies.
Now, Singapore is trying its best to become the Asian cryptocurrency boss. Although Singapore is home to a number of international crypto and Web3 companies, the locals are actually quite interesting. Everyone has heard of digital assets, but few people actually pay for them. According to the data from the Singapore Independent Reserve Cryptocurrency Index 2025, 94% of Singaporeans have at least heard of cryptocurrencies, but only 29% of them have actually invested in them. However, among these people who have really entered the market, 68% of them chose Bitcoin first, which shows that everyone still has a special liking for the Coin King. As for Bitstamp, the recent acquisition of the Singapore MAS license not only shows that people have done a good job in compliance and risk control, but also because it has grabbed a seat in the fiercely competitive Asia-Pacific crypto market.
U.S. President Trump said he plans to impose tariffs ranging from 60% to 70% and from 10% to 20% on employment in different countries. All regions will start paying these tariffs on August 1st. European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde said on Friday that the European Union's economic system needs to become more efficient and productive so that the euro can play an equal role as the dollar in global currency. In the United States, Securities and Exchange Commission fund unexpectedly halts digital large market value GDLC after the listing process. Gao said he would still be committed to promoting the fund's conversion into an exchange-traded product, exchange-traded funds. According to official documents cited by Byte_Sister, on July 2nd, the latest court documents in the FTX bankruptcy case revealed a list that has attracted widespread attention. Users in 49 countries and regions may not be able to obtain any compensation. According to the data, the sales of NFTs on the Ethereum chain in June were only about $100 million, which is the lowest single-month sales record since February 2021. Last month, the sales of NFTs on the Ethereum chain were about 549,000.
Okay, the above is the main content of the channel today. We focus on valuable news in the currency circle, chain circle, and mining circle. There are news information and in-depth special reports. If you think our channel is valuable, you are welcome to forward and follow it. You can also become our member and receive the member wealth code from Monday to Friday. Let us become rich together and add a zero to our assets in the bull market. See you tomorrow.